For many years, Eilean Ban was inhabited by lighthouse keepers and their families. After they left in the 1960s, the author and naturalist Gavin Maxwell bought the island shortly before he died. He'd risen to fame with the book and the film Ring of Bright Water, which told the story of his life with otters. Julie's colleague, Margaret Scott, shows me around Maxwell's former home, which is now a museum to a remarkable life.
Right.
So this is where he lived?
Yes.
Wow, what a fantastic room.
It is, isn't it? It's where he lived for the last 18 months or so of his life. And he wanted it to be a long room, a long sitting room to entertain friends. So he knocked 2 rooms together.
It's not what you'd expect on a wee island to see something quite as grand as this, Margaret. It's almost sumptuous, really, in a way.
It is, but he was an aristocrat, and I think people forget that. I think he was a down-and-out sort of writer.
So he had blue blood running through his veins,
yes, he had blue blood. His mother was the daughter of the Duke of Northumberland. So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So he was really very posh then?
Oh, yes, very posh.
So hence the antiques.
Yes.
Despite being born with a silver spoon in his mouth, Maxwell was always hard up, often scrounging off relatives and even staying with chums for months on end, dreaming up unlikely schemes for making money.
He had this idea of going fishing for basking sharks. He made quite a lot of money, but as usual, he did it for about 2.5 years. He had a fishery on the island of Skye, just off Elgol on the west coast of Skye, and eventually he just lost all his money. To think how he loved animals, and yet he could go and stick these awful things into basking sharks.
Well, that's the aristocracy for you, isn't
yeah,
it?
They shoot
they love
birds
animals,
and
but they
stuff
shoot
them,
them.
don't they? Yes. They
Hunting, shooting and fishing.
Hunting, shooting and fishing, yes.
Among the other mementos to an adventurous life is this photograph of Maxwell behind the wheel of his fabulous Bentley racing car at Silverstone. And in this cabinet, the remains of an ornate service revolver.
During the war, he was employed by the MOD to train people in the Special Operations Executive.
Oh, really?
To sort of look after themselves behind enemy lines.
Right.
So this gun was actually given to him by the Norwegian government. And this is actually a James Bond type gun because it goes into a thing like a pen.
Oh, right, really?
Yes, and you're supposed to be able to make it into a gun, a useful gun, in 30 seconds in the dark. But I've never tried it.
At one time, Maxwell turned his hand to painting, trying but failing to earn a crust as a society portrait artist.
That's an interesting portrait.
Yeah, this is Kathleen Raine, and she was a big influence on Maxwell's life. She fell in love with him, really, and was in love with him all her life.
Were they lovers?
No, because he was actually gay, so it was never reciprocated. Although he did marry. He married another friend.
He's a complex man.
Yes, he's a very complex man, yes.
Now, Margaret, who is that character there, that young girl? Is it?
We don't actually know, and it's not a young girl, it's a young boy.
Right.
Yes.
Is it a muse figure?
We just don't know. It's just one of those mysteries.
What sort of man do you think he was?
Troubled. He just couldn't settle at things. He liked to travel. You know, the people in the village here said he was, you know, very sort of standoffish kind of man. He wouldn't sort of chat to you in the pub or anything like that.
That's why he lived on an island.
Yes.
They say no man is an island,
Yes.
but Gavin Maxwell was, because he had one of his own.
He had one of his own.